Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Ricknineg. Let's talk about another movie today. In case you don't know, I have a movie playlist which you can look at a lot of reviews that I have done on different types of movies, so hopefully you enjoy that. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoyed today's video. So, we're going to talk about the movie The Mummy. Now, this is not to be confused with the 1999 version of The Mummy starring Brendan Fraser and I think her name was Rachel Weisz, I believe. She was pretty good. She's actually the wife of Daniel Craig, who is 007, and I've done a few reviews on James Bond. Anyway, I am digressing. It's not the same film. This is the 2017 film starring Tom Cruise. Kind of weird, like off the bat, kind of weird Tom Cruise to star in a mostly what this would be called a horror action type movie, which is kind of an interesting thing for him, although, you know, he does Mission Impossible and things like that. I have to tell you from the very beginning, I am not the biggest Tom Cruise fan. I don't dislike him, per se. I would say that my feelings about him are a little bit conflicted because I don't really fall for him as an actor. Like, he's not someone who I'm like, oh, I want to go see this movie because Tom Cruise is in it. I never really could say, ooh, I love this film with Tom Cruise. I don't have a film like that of his. And so I do like him in real life in the sense of he's a really great stuntman. Formula One, like the first time he got into Formula One car, he was able to drive that. That is super amazing. He has super crazy driving skills. And so I digress. He has skills. But how did he do in this movie? I do want to tell you what my thoughts were. Well, let me tell you. The film is called The Mummy. This is kind of a rehashing, something that Universal's trying to do of the original monster horror universe. You know, the original, we have Dracula, we have the Mummy, Frankenstein with Boris Karloff, what started the horror genre, and they're kind of renewing it again in something called the Dark Universe. It's very similar to what Marvel is doing with the expanded universe. I would say it's kind of like these films will all kind of connect and they'll have interrelated characters and different movies will come out. So the Mummy has already come out, and then I believe Dracula already came out. And then they're going to do, Javier Bardem is going to be Frankenstein and so the Frankenstein monster, as I may say. And there's pretty good actors in this one. Russell Crowe was very, very good.
He's on that, your new friend.
I did like him. In fact, I think he was my favorite actor and actress out of anyone in this picture. I think he did a phenomenal job. I even was noting his speech. He plays a doctor. I won't ruin it, but I'll just say he plays a doctor. And what was great about it was he was really into the part. Like in the beginning, he was nerdy, he was dorky, but it wasn't cheesy. It was very believable. I was like, this guy was a gladiator, which I love, by the way, that movie. This guy was a gladiator? That doesn't make any sense. He's frumpy. Like, he's just like a real different character. And I think that shows his acting chops. So my hat is off to him and the work that he did in this film. Now here's where the film takes a little bit of a turn. The Mummy, okay? This is the pinnacle of the movie. Well, at least it's supposed to be. I think they tried to make Tom Cruise and Russell Crowe the big guys in the movie. Believe it or not, and not so much the Mummy, because that's how it seems. It seems not as much attention was put on her. Yes, I say her. Mummies up to right now have all been pretty much male, at least in the cinematic universe for all the movies. Now we have our first female, and that is, it's different. It's different. I don't know how I thought that would work. I'm not against a female mummy. In fact, The Exorcist is one of the greatest horror films of all time, starring a woman who did a scary, scary part. So I do think it's believable and possible, very much possible, just like a guy, for a woman to play a horror part. I mean, in fact, like The Ring, I haven't seen that, but just looking at some of the trailers makes me not want to see it because it's just so creepy. Psycho, starring a woman, basically. Norman Bates we have, but I mean, Vivien Leigh, starring as the scared woman. She is, I mean, no one can play that part but her. Now the actress, I'll put her name down below. I don't have it in my notes, but I do want to tell you, I think she did a good job for what she was given. I don't think the part was suited for her, and I'll say that very blatantly. Why? I don't think she was menacing enough for a mummy. To me, a mummy character is supposed to be disgusting. It's supposed to, its skin is supposed to be falling off. It's thousands of years old. It's not really smart up in the brain kind of thing. I mean, we could elaborate a little bit on that. There's a little bit of a walk. There's this terror to this mummy that's coming to you. I think they capture that perfectly in a modern way in the 1999 version. with Imhotep. I think that was genius. However, this actress, I mean, every time I looked at her, I was like, she's gorgeous. Even when she had pieces of like her face missing, I was like, she's gorgeous. And so to me, that distracted from the terror. There was no terror in this movie at all. There is a little bit of terror and restlessness in the 1999 version. You have to compare these. In fact, the films are named the same thing, The Mummy, The Mummy. And so how can you not compare them? You can't review this movie and not talk about the 99 version, in my opinion. Then there was this weird relationship between Tom Cruise and, I just say, his sidekick. There was a little bit of talk about ISIS and the talk about the Iraqi war. That was just part of the setting of the film. And that's where it kind of lost me, because I expect a mummy movie to take place in Egypt. Now, I think Curse of the Emperor or something like that with Jet Li as the mummy. I didn't see that. I wasn't too hot about that. Again, Egypt. I'm a big Egypt guy, and so that was a little bit of a turn down. They even say it in the movie. They're like, wait, we're in Iraq and we found an Egyptian mummy in Iraq, and it's like, they don't really explain how, but maybe they did. I didn't get it. It was confusing to me. But I did have fun overall watching the film. There were scenes that I did enjoy. I did want to see what happened to the story and Tom Cruise, because at one point I was like, uh-oh, uh-oh. And then it was like confirmed, and something kind of drastic happened to the character, and I was like, how is this going to affect the plot? And it kind of leads into the expanded universe, or this dark universe that's going to add into the movie. So it didn't traditionally satisfy what I thought the movie would be, and I was kind of initially unhappy, but then as the movie went on, that unhappiness went away and I got into the rhythm of the movie. I'm not gonna say I loved it, because I really didn't love it. I enjoyed it. I think it was fairly good. There were some weird scenes, like I said, with his sidekick, and I'll just say that yes, he dies in this movie, but then it's like he comes back and then he communicates. It was just weird. There was a lot of things which, to me, there were just like plot holes where I didn't really understand. I think they weren't made clear enough to the audience, so there was a little bit of ambiguity as to what was going on. And then it was like the climax. The mummy was like chasing, and
she will claim what she has been denied.
I was like, why isn't this? It's missing something. It's missing the gravitas. I think, again, the actress tried very, very hard, but it just wasn't the right thing for the part. She could have played Queen Nefertari, or maybe an evil Queen Nefertari, because she was pretty good at her evil parts. But the fact of her being terrorizing, not there. Also, there's a modern day feel. I think that took away from the movie. In fact, I think it hurt the movie, because we jump around from Iraq to London, and then we go to, we don't really go to Egypt, but there's a lot of going back and forth and a lot of different scenes and a lot of different places. And that modern feel wasn't as good, as my opinion, as the 99 version, where it's like the cars are older, you get this old-timey feel, you get this hopelessness. Then we have the other mummies, the mummies that serve the main mummy that we have, that rise up, and to be honest, they were more like zombies to me. It was very Walking Dead. They were like sped up Walking Dead zombies, and to me that was a problem, because zombies and mummies are different. They're not the same thing. You can't make all these monsters similar. You've got to differentiate them, and to me, like I said, they were very undead. They weren't mummy-esque. And then this actress, I keep going back to her, but I think this was a really big drawback. She had a perfect silhouette figure, her waist, and it was like, it just bugged me so much because of what I was expecting with the character. Again, nothing wrong with it, but what if they made the Frankenstein monster female? I don't think that would work. Now, the Bride of Frankenstein, she's female, and so that works because she's her own character. However, that's what I kind of think they did here, and it just didn't work for me. There were a few scenes that were creepy. There was one scene where a spider goes inside someone's ear. I will say that. I won't say what happened, but it was, of course it was CGI, but it was just so creepy to me. So there were a few creepy moments, but again, they were very instantaneous. They were very quick, and they didn't really draw or add to the overall effect of the movie. And there is a point where they capture her, the mummy. And it's weird because you don't think that you could capture her. She can do all this magic stuff, but yet chains can hold her. I don't know, guys, I guess. It was just, again, all these things, all these questions that were popping up in my mind. Maybe I was inquisitive, but I was like, well, why is she being held? and then all of a sudden she does this and breaks out, but she's tied there on purpose for a while. It doesn't really serve the story. It's not like she revealed anything. I don't know, it just didn't work for me. And then going back to those mummies that rose up, they were wearing almost medieval type costumes. Now there's a quick medieval scene, like, you know, knights in London and so forth in the beginning, but then she's in London, she's in Egypt, and so she's Egyptian in Iraq, then she goes to London, and there she's flown to London, and then we have the mummies rising up and they're medieval mummy. It's just, like I said, it's just a mishmash of stuff, and I was trying to make ends meet with everything. So I have to rate this movie, and I'm gonna give it a C, just a plain C. I would say it's average. I would say if you're a big horror fan, like monsters, like monster movie fan, I would say watch it, but don't expect what you've been seeing. This is, again, trying to reimagine it. A lot of different, not that there's anything wrong. There's Batman the Dark Knight, reimagined Batman. It was the greatest thing of all time. However, I think this didn't go in the direction that I saw it. Was it entertaining? Yes, for the most part. Was it fun to watch? Yes, for the most part. Would I watch it again? I would. I would watch it again. But again, I think there were a lot of story holes. There were some things that were very good that you can say, okay, they're going to tie it into something later in the future. But overall, it was a pretty much average film to me. There were some scenes that kind of pulled the movie up a little bit and stuck out. But that's about it. Nothing amazing. I wish the mummy character would have been just a little bit better. No fault to the actress. More of casting and whoever the director was and so forth. So thank you so much, guys and gals, for watching. I do appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It does help me out. We'll see you next time, and don't forget to stay positive and, most importantly, be hopeful.